New information tonight. A wild chase with a violent wanted fugitive leads American Fork Police to shoot at a man that was driving into oncoming traffic and attempting to evade law enforcement. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is live in American Fork tonight with more. Spencer.
Good evening, Brian. Yes, this all started at about 1:30 this afternoon when American Fork Police got a call about a man in a damaged truck swerving into oncoming traffic and driving erratically. Now, as they were responding, Pleasant Grove Police heard this over their radios and knew that that truck matched an earlier incident and that it was also stolen. So once police got to the scene, the driver, identified as 41-year-old Matthew Bryan, became confrontational, and that led officers to fire their weapons. The shooting taking place just north of the Lehi Police Department near Forbes Elementary School. Now, Bryan took off and led officers with several different agencies on a high-speed pursuit, eventually crashing in Lehi into a parked car after spike strips were deployed. After a short foot pursuit, officers were able to take him in. Now, Matthew Bryan is a fugitive of the U.S. Marshal's Office on weapons charges and is considered to be dangerous. We talked with police about how taking this criminal off the streets, and thankfully, no one being hurt in this incident.
Initially, your immediate thought was it could have been much worse. You know, a lot of times fugitives from, whether it be the U.S. Marshals, adult probation and parole, oftentimes they'll do anything, including murder, to not go back to jail or prison. And so it's always a relief to know that an incident ended without anybody being hurt, but then also to know that dangerous individual is off the streets and not going to victimize any of our community members is a great feeling as well.
Now, a lot of the parts of this road the initial pursuit took place on in American Fork are very narrow, lined with rows of houses as well as cars. We talked to several in the community who were shook that this happened. Now, I did speak with one man named Kyle who didn't want to go on camera, but this afternoon he said he witnessed the speeding truck go past him and saying speeds were reaching about 50 to 60 miles an hour in front of his home.
Way beyond what was normal or way beyond what was safe, to be frank with you. As I told you, a little after 2 o'clock, I was sitting in my front yard and a vehicle at a high rate of speed came driving by, and the vehicle was pretty beat up, smashed windshield. The front of it was all caved in, and there were at least 4, if not 5, police cars behind him.
Now, Bryan is charged with 6 things we've learned this evening, including failure to follow officers' commands, operating an unsafe vehicle, and violation of probation or parole. Now, the officer-involved critical incident team has now taken over this investigation as a result of exactly what provoked officers to fire their weapons. That will be determined at a later date, and of course, we will keep you up to date on the latest. But for now, live here at American Fork, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.